Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. Is there any changes or?
Just want to add number 7G, about EMS week.
Okay, Emergency Medical Service Week under 7G. Is there any other changes for council? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that change?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Joe, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the April 21, 2021 regular meeting. I'll receive them in your packet. Is there any changes, corrections, or any clarification needed? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 12th or April 21st regular meeting?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. This now brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak to the council? Is there anyone that wants to speak to the council? Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Our public open forum is now closed. We will move on to public hearings. We have 3 public hearings. Public hearing on TIF District 1-14, public hearing on vacation of excess property, and a public hearing on vacation of utility easements. I don't have the rules or anything like that. We probably don't need them, I take it.
Pardon me? Do you have the forms in front of you
No,
for the public hearing process?
no.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll just
And
kind
I
of,
can't go by memory, so.
you can't go by memory? Okay, so we do have the 3 public hearings before us, and we do have a procedure that we have to follow, which would be, we'll have a presentation by staff, followed by questions for the staff and for clarification. And then followed by that, we'll have questions by the public, and then those in favor and those opposed. And then action would occur later after, in the action section of the agenda. So, and I believe you also say that the public doesn't speak during that unless they're in that comment period.
Right.
So the first public hearing before us is public hearing for TIF District 1-14. This is to consider the creation of the TIF district. It would reimburse Sauk Center opportunities for a discounted land sale to a new business in the Sauk Center Industrial Park. Notifications and a copy of the TIF plan were sent both to the school district and Stearns County for comment. Due to a delay in the legal publication, we are recommending that the City Council open the public hearing and then continue it till May 19th, when it can be held and meet the statutory guidelines for publication. Because it is a TIF district, it has different legal requirements, and if you noticed in the newspaper, it was in the paper last week, and we have a couple more days that have to be passed before we can hold the hearing. So we'd like to open the hearing now, because this was the date that was advertised to the school and the county, and then continue it next week to meet that, or 2 weeks from now to meet that statutory guideline.
Any questions or discussion about that? Otherwise, we'll take action to recess the
Correct.
public hearing until 2 weeks from now. So do I have a motion to recess the public hearing? And
I'll make a motion to recess the
okay, we
public
have a
hearing.
motion by Shallen. Do I have a second?
Joe.
I'll second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Then we will move on to the public hearing on the vacation of the excess property.
Okay, this public hearing is the vacation of a part of Getty Street. And as part of the development of the information center property and also the relocation of the adjacent Getty Street to the west, there is excess property between Getty Street and the existing Aerosmith 2 plat. The new plat of Aerosmith 3 includes that excess property and is contingent upon the vacation of this excess right-of-way. A copy of the affected property is attached. Getty Street will remain the standard 66-foot road width. So we are going to be vacating, I think it's about 45 feet or 50 feet extra excess right-of-way that will be added to the neighboring lot. So what we're looking tonight is to conduct that public hearing on the vacation of the part of Getty Street.
Okay, questions, concerns? Everyone understands what we're doing here? Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak in favor, against, or needs clarification? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council for clarification for or against? Call a third time. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor, against, or needs clarification on this item? Okay, we'll move on to public hearing on vacation of utility easements.
This also is part of the development of the information center property. We do have a new plat, a preliminary plat that has been approved. That prior plat of Aerosmith Plat 2 included a utility easement around the perimeter. Because the new plat has a different perimeter with the inclusion of this vacated property, we're proposing to vacate the existing utility easement, and then a new utility easement is dedicated in the perimeter of the new plat. And so you also have that easement sketch and the vacation in your packet on page 12.
Questions, concerns? Okay, is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak in favor, against, or needs clarification for this item? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor, against, or needs clarification for this item? Call a third time. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor, against, or needs clarification for this item? Okay, our public hearing is now closed. We will move on to reports and presentations. EDA report.
So the EDA met on Wednesday, April 28th at noon in the City Hall Conference Room. The meeting was held to receive and discuss an offer to purchase the Unger Ag Land. At the meeting, the EDA met with representatives for the buyer and presented a plan that could potentially work for the buyer, and also the city could continue to develop the property in accordance with the grant agreement. I do have a drawing that I'll be presenting to you tonight when we go into closed session, and a letter of an intent that we also received based on that new layout. So this will be discussed further in the closed session at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. That was the only item, or only agenda item for the EDA.
Questions, concerns? Okay, Park Board report.
So the Park Board met in regular session last night, Tuesday, May 4th. They did receive the Public Works Department monthly report, which was actually quite lengthy because it is springtime. They also approved a 3-year agreement for mosquito spraying for Sinclair Lewis Days. They're recommending an approval of the agreement with Apex regarding the arena improvements. That's an action item on your agenda tonight. They accepted a donation of a memorial bench for Wander. They did receive a report on Tower View Park land acquisition. They're discussing the development of a memorial bench and trees policy, because we're getting a lot of memorial benches, and we just need to start spreading them around the city more, and how we will accommodate that. Received a report on the Red Schoolhouse relocation and the route that it'll be taking, and it will be leaving at 12:30 on Monday, May 10th from the Interpretive Center, and it'll work its way to J.C. Park, and it'll take about an hour and a half to get there. So that'll be interesting and give an opportunity for people to see that happen. And then they did receive the progress report on the fish cleaning house and the campground shelter. So you do have one action item from them tonight, and that is the agreement with Apex.
Okay, any questions or concerns
What time did you say?
12:30,
12:30, okay.
on Monday?
that's when it's supposed to leave the information center.
And take an hour and a half.
And it'll go up, it's gonna go up Beltline, and it's gonna cut through the Buyer Woodworks because of power lines that can be moved and can't move, that's kind of a weird location. It's going to go through Buyer, going to go out their back way onto Pleasant Street to 10th. It's going to take 10th up to Center. Then it's going to follow down Walnut to Sinclair Lewis Avenue, going across to Willow to Park Road, then down Park Road to Highway 71, and then north. This is the easiest way for them to avoid the bridge, the Wobegon Trail, the stoplight, and the overhead power lines. So this was the route that the mover selected. So, lots of opportunity to see it.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay, we'll move to city engineer report. Keith?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brief update on status of projects we're working on. Last year's 2020 capital improvements, really nothing's changed on that. Still waiting for construction to get started. So that'll be forthcoming to finish up that project. The south, starting at the south industrial park, is Vicki already talked about. We put together a kind of a concept plan based upon what the buyer was requesting, and that is what was brought forward, and you'll see that tonight later on in your deliberations. So we've been working on that and starting to do some preliminary work on utility layouts and those kinds of things down in that area. The information site, we are actively working on the plans and specs for that one, trying to get that one as quickly as possible. The plan would be to try to get that to bid early in June so that we can get bids and get started on that hopefully by July, and try to get at least the north half, which is where they really want to start building, perhaps ready for them to start building maybe as early as August. That's the goal and what we're shooting for at this point. So that's all working just fine. And the 2022 project, we're working diligently away on the feasibility report. All the survey is done now, and we're just starting to do quantities and those kinds of things. So you'll start to see that a little bit later on this month, but that will be, that's all's in progress and seems to be on track for what we had proposed at this point in time. So any questions you might have of me?
Questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Action items, 7A, approve resolution 2021-39, creating the TIF District 1-14. Since we recessed that public hearing, I would think that we would table the action on that
Correct.
resolution for 2021-39. So do I have a motion to table that action?
Motion to table.
Motion by
I'll
Joe.
second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7B, approve resolution 2021-40, vacating excess property.
So this action is subsequent to the public hearing vacating the excess property along Getty Street. That will then be added to the Aerosmith Plat 3. The language in the resolution also authorizes the execution of a quitclaim deed from the city to the city to create the lot that then will be included in the plat. I know that's kind of a weird way to do it, but that's how you have to create that parcel so that we can then include it in the plat. So I'm looking to approve resolution 2021-40 vacating that excess property.
Any last minute questions or concerns?
I'm assuming it would have come up in the public hearing, but you didn't have any comments on any of it, did you?
No, we had no comment.
Okay.
We did have one person at the preliminary plat level that was just more curious of what was going there, but not about the vacation
Got it.
itself.
Okay.
Any other questions? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2021-40?
I'll
Motion by
second.
Diane,
Yep, I'll second.
second by Shallon. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7C, approve resolution 2021-41, vacating utility easements.
So this also is subsequent to the public hearing to vacate the utility easements. The new easements will be dedicated in the new plat around the perimeter of Aerosmith Plat 3. This is resolution 2021-41, vacating the utility easement.
Questions, concerns? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2021-41?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7D, approve resolution for 2021-42, accepting the bid for the 2021 street projects.
So as you know, the city council previously authorized us to advertise for bids for a full-depth reclamation of Anjo Drive and part of East Street, and also there was some minor curb repair that went along with that. We opened bids on August 29th at 11 a.m. with the results that you see. We did have 7 bidders for the project, and they bid Anjo and East separate. The low bidder for both projects is Markley Excavating. Anjo Drive at $84,523.10. Markley Excavating for East Street at $73,238, for a total of $157,761.10, which is under the estimate that we had of $170,000. So we're about $13,000 under our estimate. So when we're all said and done, those special assessments will be amended to reflect that, and everybody will get a final notice of their amended special assessment. So what we're looking to do is approve the resolution 2021-42, awarding the bid to Mark Lee Construction, Inc.
Okay, and the bids were open on April 29th, not August, right?
August is good. It was April.
Yes. Is there any questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2021-42?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Shallen, do I have a second? Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7E, approve resolution 2021-43, authorizing sale of excess equipment.
This is some more of that cleanup down at the city shop that the guys have been doing and putting on Minbed. So they had some tanks were advertised and were sold for $90 to Mike's Sanitation. This is resolution 2021-43, authorizing the sale of those tanks.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2021-43?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7F, approve agreement with Arena Capital Improvement Plan Review.
So the park board met, or upon recommendation of the park board, city staff met with Apex. It's a company that specializes in arenas, providing advice and expertise on long-term needs. They propose to do an analysis of the building and assist with developing a long-range capital improvement plan with an estimated cost of $5,000. Now, of course, when they're here, if we have extra things we want them to do, that is at an hourly rate. What they would do is they do building walkthrough, they do a site visit, they would walk through the ice arena interviewing anybody that worked there, so get a good understanding of the building. They would collect all the information on the existing mechanical, refrigeration, electrical, and plumbing systems. They would evaluate the interior finishes, the enclosure, and the site work. When I say enclosure, I'm talking doors, windows, roof, everything physically at the arena. They would evaluate the aging condition of the mechanical, refrigeration, electrical, and plumbing, and then they would coordinate with us to identify what improvements we would need to do. Then they would assemble all that data, and they would give us a report giving its age, condition, assessment, and recommendation for the refrigeration, electrical, mechanical, fire safety, finishes, and site work. And then they would give it an index rating so we could decide in what order these improvements should have to be made, and then they'd help us recommend a plan for improvement. So once we have this all done, then we can really look long-term needs of the arena. We've talked in the past about trying to tackle it and what it's going to need. It's approaching 30 years old. So the park board reviewed the full proposal last night, and they are recommending that we approve this professional service agreement with Apex to do this study.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve the professional services agreement?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7G, medical services.
So we received this from Kathy at the ambulance garage and Central Minnesota EMS Joint Powers Board. They've asked that all Central Minnesota cities with EMS services recognize the work done by their EMTs by declaring May 16th to 22nd as EMS Week. They encourage the community to recognize the important services members to that team contribute. We do have a proclamation in your packet, which is a mayoral proclamation basically declaring that week as Emergency Medical Service Week. And so I am requesting approval of that proclamation.
Questions or comments? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve that proclamation?
Make a motion to approve?
Motion by Shallen, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Unfinished business, BDPI grant.
Okay, we have a few items of unfinished business through the BDPI grant update. You know, we have that grant agreement, and this is on the Unger Ag land, which we kind of put on hold because we had that offer. So that offer is what we're going to talk about in closed session tonight. And depending on how that outcome of that is that we were now ready to send that grant agreement in along with a draft site plan to go into the state. And we have till 2024 to actually complete all the work, and our goal would be to get it completed next year. So that's kind of where we're at with that. It still has a lot of steps and a lot of red tape, but we're just wading our way through that. The second item, we had the information center redevelopment, and Keith had reported that they're working on that site plan to how to make that work. But I did meet with 2 of the businesses on Monday. My report on that is business number 1 has waived all their contingencies, and they want to move their closing up a couple months. So all of a sudden, it really got quick on how we need to get this project done. And business number 2 now, I've been having some really good conversations with them, and they're trying to put together their letter of intent and how that pricing will work and what works best for them for their financing and that how we structure that. So those 2 are pretty good. Business number 1 also represents some other businesses, and he's all excited. Now he's going out to market the 3rd lot. So we kind of have a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of moving pieces in this project, but it keeps moving forward, and we keep making Keith jump through hoops on how to make it work for us. But I think it's going to happen, and it's going forward, so that's very positive. As far as item C, I'll just keep moving. The employee recruitment for Public Works. We did receive applications, and now the committee, the personnel committee, and Ben and myself all have those. We did receive 31 applications for that position. We did have that deadline of Monday. Then we will go through them all. We will rank them, and then we will compare notes. We'll select people for interview, and then we'll go to interview. So interview will happen probably the second half of May sometime. And depending on who we get selected for interview may impact who the interviewers are, because there are people in that pool that are familiar to a lot of us. And so we want to make sure that we have a very fair and unbiased interview process. And so I'm not going to say right now who the interviewers are going to be. It's going to depend on who gets selected for interview. A couple of things on the campground. On the campground safe room and restrooms, we're at the process right now at engineering review for the engineer stamp. When we need that engineered stamp for public buildings, and that is where the process is right now, so we can get those bids in here. On track for getting that fall start. What we'd like to have is this fall, we would like to have the old building down and the footings poured for the new building so that that work can start right away in the spring. Let's see, the next thing we have is that American Rescue Plan funding. We have our first installment of those funds is expected to hit our account in June. We're going to have some recommendations for you at our next meeting of how we as a staff level think that some options for those fundings. There's some webinars going on from a multitude of different sources. So we're just trying to wait on that Treasury guidance. It's coming very slowly. And then when we get that information, we'll give you some ideas, and you guys will be able to choose how that funding will go. And the last item I have on here is the plow truck. If you recall, we ordered a plow truck last fall or late winter. The chassis has arrived. It's been sent over to Jayco for the installation of the plow body. We're looking for a potential delivery to the city in July or the early part of August. So those are kind of all the unfinished business items that we're working on.
Any questions or concerns with any of those items? Or
You said
comments?
31 applicants?
We had 31. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty, well, Impressive.
Yeah, it's more than I expected.
Yeah.
Okay, we have no new business. We then go to our consent agenda. We have schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $172,422.68. Paid claims of $10,431.18 for a total of $182,863.88. We have resolution number 2021-44, accepting contributions of $94.81 from the men's card playing group to be allocated to the senior center, and a check for $2,000 from the Bezer family to be allocated to the senior center. And on behalf of this council and the city, I want to thank those people for those contributions. Is there any questions or concerns on the consent calendar?
I guess I just have, looks like in the vendors here, the last bill, $155.80, an ambulance refund overpayment. I don't see who it's actually paid to. And then actually the total in the schedules, the 182,863.88 actually does not add up to the unpaid and paid claims number.
6388.
That should be 182,853.86, which is on the second
53 rather than
page.
63?
Yep,
53?
it should be
And 86 cents
53.
instead of
Yep,
88.
Okay.
typo.
The refund overpayment was back to Medicare.
Okay.
Is there any other questions or concerns? Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar with that one typo change?
So moved.
We have a motion by Joe,
Yep, I'll second.
second by Shallen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Informational items?
The informational items that I have for you tonight are the charter or spectrum channel lineup changes, which is seems to be happening almost every meeting now that they're making quite a few changes.
Then that brings us to the end of our agenda, but we have a closed session, so we're going to recess the regular meeting and go into closed session.
And I'd like to ask if our city engineer can, maybe step in the hallway and then we bring him in, because some of the layout for what I'm going to be able to talk to you about is kind of dependent on how the roads and utilities can work.
Sure.
And he can answer those questions if you have any, if that's okay with you, Keith, yeah. Yep.
We will now reconvene the council meeting after being in closed session, discussing a real estate offer. Council has discussed that offer and given administration the direction that we are interested in heading. And that is basically what we did in closed session. So,
And this real estate offer has to do with the Unger property south of the truck stop or west of the truck stop, so.
right. So, with that, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Joe. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.